and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Let's begin with the latest headlines this morning. Mines and Minerals Bill stuck in the upper house as opposition demands more time to discuss the legislation. Left parties demand that it be sent back to the select committee. Amid massive opposition to its land acquisition bill, government reaches out inviting the Congress to an open debate on the legislation. On the day when Islamic State claims responsibility for Tunisia attack, UN report indicts group for genocide, raises calls for prosecution by International Criminal Court. European Union says sanctions to stay till Russia honors Minsk agreement commitments. And in the Cricket World Cup, Australia will face Pakistan at Adelaide. The winner will play India in the semi-final next week. Well, the government's move to get the Mines and Mineral Development and Regulation Amendment Bill 2015 passed in the upper house met with stiff opposition from Congress and left parties. The house witnessed 3 adjournments amidst slogan shouting. The bill will now be taken up today, the last day of the first half of the budget session.
उपसभापति महोदय, जब प्रवर समिति का गठन हुआ था,
There was uproar in Rajya Sabha on Thursday evening as soon as Mines Minister Narendra Tomar moved the motion for consideration and passing of the Mines and Mineral Development and Regulation Amendment Bill 2015. CPIM member P. Rajiv moved the amendment asking that the bill be resent to the select committee as all stakeholders have not been consulted.
This committee didn't hear any of the state government. This is totally against concept of the federal structure. This is totally against the principles of our constitution, sir. Then the select committee failed to follow the basic principles of democracy, failed to follow the basic principles of our constitution, sir. That is why we demand this bill should be resent to the Senate committee.
Congress members soon trooped into the well shouting slogans against the government, after which proceedings were adjourned briefly.
Office adjourned for 10 minutes. Adjourned for 10 minutes.
The government objected to the amendment moved by P. Rajiv, saying it is not as per the rules and procedures of the House.
At 93(2), that is the provision which requires a twice submission to select committee, has not been made applicable to that. Bills originating in Lok Sabha and coming here refers only once under 125 that it can be referred to the select committee. That procedure has been exhausted.
After counter-arguments from the opposition benches, the proceedings were adjourned briefly thrice again.
Adjourn the house for 10 minutes.
Later, it was agreed that the bill would be taken up on Friday morning.
So after that again we meet and then we'll take up core bill and then dispose it of tomorrow, and we'll be requesting the non-official day to be postponed to another day. So my problem is the House should understand me. If the Mines and Minerals Bill is agreed upon here or decided upon here, then I have to go back to the Lok Sabha.
What we decided 11 to 12 and then 2:30 onwards.
Yeah.
Because there's a Friday tomorrow.
Yeah.
So from 1 to 2:30.
Tomorrow, yes. Tomorrow it was agreed we dispense with the 0 hour. We dispense with the 0 hour, start this business of the legislative work.
That is it.
We will continue till 12. After that, resume at 2:30.
The deputy chairman also reserved his ruling on the amendment moved by P. Rajiv till 11 a.m. on Friday and adjourned the proceedings for the day. Vishal Dahiya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Till 11 a.m. on Friday.
Well, faced with the stiff opposition on the land bill, the government reached out to leaders of the opposition parties, including Congress President Sonia Gandhi and activist Anna Hazare. Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari wrote a letter to those opposing the bill, inviting them to an open debate on the issue. The bill is awaiting clearance in the Rajya Sabha.
From the government representative, we are ready to discuss with them, and it is my request to them that the government is ready for discussion. Let there be an open discussion on all issues related to the land acquisition.
The government finally bending down to opposition pressure and seemingly ready for reconciliation. As the land bill awaits clearance from Rajya Sabha, the government has reached out to the opposition. In the letter to opposition leaders, Gadkari has said the government was willing to debate all aspects of the bill.
The present land acquisition bill with amendment is in the interest of the farmers. It will definitely create more employment potential. It is all in the interest of the farmers and the rural economy and agriculture economy. So some of the political party, they want to politicalize the issue and they want to establish that Narendra Modi ji and present our government is against farmer. But this is the ground reality versus the perception.
Earlier this week, Congress had led a united and aggressive opposition in blocking the bill's passage in the upper house and also submitted a memorandum to President Pranab Mukherjee. Congress President Sonia Gandhi had also written a letter to Anna Hazare vowing not to let the bill pass. Opposition has termed the bill anti-farmer.
We are certainly ready to debate the land acquisition bill. After all, this is a bill that was passed just a year and a half ago with the active participation of every single party in the parliament, including the BJP, which voted as part of the unanimous adoption of this bill. Now, 1.5 years later, they say that they have to bring in so many amendments which remove the heart and soul of this bill.
Sources say Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asked Gadkari to work with all parties to gain consensus on the controversial bill. The government is in minority in the upper house of parliament and for this reason it will be difficult for them to get the bill passed unless everybody is on board. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, joining me for a chat this morning is the political editor of the Business Standard, Aditi Fadnis. Aditi, good morning. Thank you for joining me on the program. Well, crucial bills as far as the government is concerned, the coal mines bill as well as the mines and minerals bill. Of course, the government expected both these bills to be passed in this particular session, but that has not happened. So what is the strategy really going to be? Can we see it being passed by the Rajya Sabha today?
I think there will be some movement today after these procedural wrangles are cleared. But some changes will be made in the bill. Amendments will be adopted in Rajya Sabha, and those will have to be cleared by the Lok Sabha almost immediately if the bill is to become a law before the end of this session of this part of the budget session. So now we have to see, because there are many divergences between the government and the opposition on the bill that is going to be passed. Particularly in the coal bill, where the question of labour that is employed in coal mines is addressed, because the biggest problem is that if you sell a coal mine and if you allow private sector commercial mining of coal, you sell that mine, according to the law, the assets will be valued, but what happens to those who have developed the mine, that labour which is already working there? This and other issues were taken up in the Select Committee, but the opposition claims that the Select Committee report does not reflect accurately their concerns. And so that's going to be another issue which is going to come up. We haven't heard it yet, but it's going to come up as debate on the bill progresses.
Indeed, that's one aspect of it. Another thing is that, of course, the chairman or the deputy chairman will have to give his ruling as far as the point of order raised by the left parties. Now that business has to be taken care of first, and that particular order might come today, and only then will we see any kind of forward movement as far as the mines and minerals bill is concerned.
Absolutely. The issue at the heart of the problem is the issue whether there has been enough consultation on the mines bill or not. The Select Committee says we wanted to talk to state governments. You had given us time till 18th to give our report. You demanded the report on the 17th, and we haven't had a chance to talk to state governments. So, according to rules, the bill should be referred again to a Select Committee. The problem is that the government's interpretation of the rule is that those rules which originate or begin in the Rajya Sabha alone can be sent to the Select Committee twice. Those bills which originate in the Lok Sabha can only be sent to the Select Committee once, and that process has already been gone through. So, more consultation and more consensus is what the opposition is asking for. Government is saying, look, you've had all the time to do your consultation, now let's just get down to passing the bill.
Indeed, and
so
the government
the chairman will give his ruling on it today at 11.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, there will be some movement. Sorry, you were saying?
Indeed. You know, the government is trying hard to get these bills passed in the Rajya Sabha, because let's not forget the ordinances will lapse on the 5th of April, and Parliament will be in recess at that point in time. So the government will have to reissue these ordinances. So that's one of the reasons why the government is pushing this hard to actually try and get these bills passed. Now, if the bills are not passed today, do you expect this particular part of the session to be extended maybe for a couple of days to ensure that the government completes its business?
Well, the mood yesterday and the day before that was very, very opposed to any extension of the House, because there are a slew of festivals starting tomorrow or starting on Saturday. In fact, the House was not even ready to work on Saturday because everyone said they had to go back home for Ugadi and Gudi Padwa, and then followed by Ram Navami and etc. etc. So there's active hostility, and probably because of that, the government is also trying to push and saying, well, if you don't finish the business, then we'll have to extend the House. So I think today the matter will be settled one way or another. If it's not settled, then there's a whole lot of other problems which will happen, which is that you cannot re-promulgate an ordinance while Parliament is sitting. Parliament has to be prorogued in order to re-promulgate an ordinance. So the Parliament will have to be prorogued, and part 2 of the budget session will have to be recalled and called by another name in order to have the session. Although this has been done in the past, it's not considered good practice, and it's not considered optimal management of time. So I have a feeling that the government has a lot riding on this, and it will make every effort possible to get these 2 bills cleared today.
All right, Aditi Fadnis, thank you so much for joining us there with those details, and thank you for putting things into perspective for us. We'll have to leave it at that. Moving on now, the plight of the farmers hit by unseasonal rains echoed in Rajya Sabha. Members cutting across political lines sought immediate financial assistance for affected farmers. The members also voiced concern about the rising cases of farmers' suicides. The government has promised to take all measures to help farmers in distress.
The states.
Acknowledging the unanimous concern of the House on farmers' plight, Leader of the House Arun Jaitley assured members of compassionate and prompt action to provide relief to distraught farmers. He informed the House that the Agriculture Minister has constituted separate teams for each state to assess the loss.
कृषि विभाग ने हर राज्य के लिए अलग-अलग टीम गठित कर दी है, और आज से कृषि विभाग के जो तीनों मंत्री हैं, वो स्वयं भी इन राज्यों के दौरे के ऊपर जा रहे हैं.
Jaitley's assurance came after all political parties spoke in one voice, demanding fair compensation for farmers. JDU's K.C. Tyagi initiated the discussion. He pointed out that even though losses incurred amounted to 22,000 crore rupees, insurance companies had put the figure at just 1,000 crore rupees. BSP leader Mayawati complained that the amendments in the land acquisition bill were adding insult to injury.
आज तक केंद्र सरकार का एक मंत्री, किसी सूबे का मुख्यमंत्री किसानों के पास जाकर के ये नहीं पूछ पाया कि तुम्हारा नुकसान क्या हुआ है.
भूमि अधिग्रहण संशोधन विधेयक है जो लोकसभा में पास हो चुका है, राज्यसभा में अभी नहीं हुआ है, तो यहाँ पर इसको हाउस में लाने से पहले इसको वापस ले लिया जाए और सन 2013 का जो भूमि अधिग्रहण विधेयक है उसको ही स्वीकार कर लिया जाए.
Leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad demanded fair assessment of the crop loss and said that the distribution of compensation should be corruption-free and fair. Several other leaders wanted loan waiver for affected farmers.
एक तो असेसमेंट जो करना है मुआवजे के लिए, वो बड़ी फेयर होनी चाहिए. हमेशा शिकायत आती है मुआवजे के बारे में, कुछ लोग छूट जाते हैं और कुछ लोग को मुआवजा मिलता, और फिर उसके बाद फेयर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन भी होनी चाहिए. फिर वो जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो मुआवजे की वो करप्शन फ्री होनी चाहिए.
स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की लिमिटेशन है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को यहाँ से मदद करने की आवश्यकता है. दूसरी, ऑल टाइप ऑफ रिकवरी जो है वो सस्पेंड करनी चाहिए और खास तौर पर क्रॉप लोन वेव करने की आवश्यकता है.
पहले तो आत्महत्या करते थे किसान, लेकिन अब की बार पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है कि खेत पर जाकर किसान को इतना जबरदस्त शौक लगा है कि कई किसानों की हार्ट फेल होने से, अपनी फसल को देखने से जो धक्का लगा, हार्ट फेल होने से उनकी मौत हुई है.
Heavy unseasonal rains across large parts of India have inflicted a heavy blow on farmers. Several hectares of standing crops have been destroyed. While the loss has not yet been assessed, wheat, mustard, pulses, vegetables and fruits are believed to be the worst affected. The losses have led to rising cases of farmer suicides. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but on the other side, AAP increases the water tariff in the capital by 10%. The opposition questions the party's electoral commitments. That and much more coming up. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello and a very warm welcome to a brand new edition of World Panorama with me, Frank Pereira.
Barack Obama has been elected on the basis that I will no longer take America into wars, and in fact quite the opposite, I will pull America out of wars.
According to the Indian government, fishermen are not at fault.
The US intervention in Iraq set the stage for exacerbation of these conflicts, and then the intervention in Syria.
Watch World Panorama at these times on Rajya Sabha television. Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, a third day of protest demanding a CBI probe into IAS officer D.K. Ravikumar's death turned violent on Thursday, with the centre even showing signs of agreeing to a CBI probe. Protesting groups including students and political groups clashed with police in Bengaluru and Tumkuru. Here's a report.
BJP youth wing workers blocked the national highway and forced a bandh in Tumakuru, Ravikumar's hometown. They even clashed with police who used batons against them. Students of the Agricultural University in Bengaluru, where Ravi graduated in agriculture, also marched in protest, raising a call for what they called justice.
We don't have faith in CID or COD because it comes under state government only. Actually, Karnataka state government wished to curb this case as a suicide.
BJP and JDS MLAs continue their dharna in front of the Mahatma Gandhi statue near the Vidhan Sauda and marched to the governor's house. The assembly had to be adjourned till Monday following the ruckus inside the house, all stepping up pressure on the state government to hand over the case to the CBI as distinct from a state government-controlled CID probe.
Chief Minister Siddaramaiah is not ready to hand over to CBI. That means he is not fair enough to give justice to anybody.
The issue even resounded in Parliament at the centre, with the Home Minister hinting he is ready to transfer the case to the CBI if the Siddaramaiah government in the state recommends it.
यदि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट चाहती है कि इसकी सीबीआई जांच हो, तो जो ही स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की रिकमेंडेशन सीबीआई जांच के लिए प्राप्त होगी, तो मैं समझता हूं कि केंद्र सरकार सीबीआई जांच कराने को पूरी तरह से तैयार है.
Ravi Kumar's colleagues in the IAS have started a signature campaign to petition Prime Minister Narendra Modi to order a CBI investigation. They too reject the suicide theory. Kumar, who earned a reputation as an upright officer, had recently taken over as Joint Commissioner of Commercial Taxes. He'd also taken on the Sand Mafia as Deputy Commissioner of Kolar District. Many of the real estate companies he'd pursued are owned or linked to state ministers. But the Congress in Karnataka and in the centre remains adamant that a state CID probe is perfectly capable of handling the case.
The Karnataka government, in its wisdom, would do everything possible to ensure that the truth and in its complete entirety comes out. So everyone should await the outcome of the investigations.
The issue marks the latest tussle over a man the opposition calls a whistleblower and their tug of war with the party in power. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
The Aam Aadmi Party-led government increased water tariff by 10% in Delhi yesterday. The decision comes less than a month after it said free water will be distributed to families using up to 20,000 litres per month. Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia said that people consuming less than 700 litres of water per day won't have to pay anything, but people consuming more than that will have to pay 10% more. Opposition parties criticized the decision while questioning its electoral commitments. The Aam Aadmi Party won 67 seats out of 70 in Delhi. It had promised to provide cheap electricity and water. Sisodia said that the government's step will instill responsibility in the people.
जब इन्होंने लोगों को कहा था कि हम फ्री पानी देंगे, 50% बिजली फ्री देंगे, वाईफाई देंगे, तो साथ में इनको लिखना चाहिए था बड़ा बड़ा कंडीशन अप्लाई। तो जब चीजें होती तो कंडीशन अप्लाई, अब चीजें निकल करके आ रही हैं। जिस तरीके से लोगों के बिल 500 रुपए 600 रुपए के पानी के बिल आज 5000, 9000, 17000 और 29000 तक आ रहे हैं।
जनता को इतनी जल्दी 1 महीना भी अभी पूरा नहीं हुआ और ये वापस जो है अपने पुराने वायदों से पीछे चलते जा रहे हैं, ये बहुत दुख की बात है। मैं केजरीवाल जी को सलाह देना चाहूंगा क्योंकि उन्होंने कहा था कि वो मुझसे सलाह लेते रहेंगे और मैंने भी कहा कि वो मांगे या ना मांगे मैं सलाह जरूर दूंगा। तो जनता के बीच में अपनी विश्वसनीयता आगे बनाए रखें, मेरी उनसे सलाह है।
A policeman has reportedly been killed after terrorists stormed a police station in Jammu's Kathua district this morning. The attackers are reportedly inside the police station and a heavy exchange of fire was being heard over the last hour and a half or so. Reports suggest there were at least 3 attackers in military uniforms. The attackers opened fire at the Rajbagh police station a little after 6 a.m. This police station is located barely 15 kilometers from the international border. Sources say that the attackers could be a fresh group of infiltrators who may have crossed the border last night. More news from across the country in our segment Nationwide. Swine flu toll inched towards the 1,900 mark as the H1N1 virus claimed 32 more lives in the country. The number of cases have also crossed 31,000. A health ministry study said 34% of the swine flu deaths analyzed were in the age group of 30 to 45 years. Social activist Teesta Setalwad and her husband Javed Anand failed to get anticipatory bail on Thursday. The 2-judge bench of the Supreme Court said that the issue demanded attention of a larger bench. The top court, however, extended the interim order providing protection from arrest till the larger bench takes up the matter. The two are accused in the fund embezzlement case for a museum at Ahmedabad's Gulbarg Society. The ED questioned former IAF Air Marshal Gautam Nair in connection with its money laundering probe in the multi-crore Augusta Westland VVIP helicopter deal. ED investigators are believed to have questioned him for over 8 hours and also recorded his statement under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. The Enforcement Directorate summoned Trinamool Congress MP Arpita Ghosh in connection with the multi-crore Sharda chit fund scam. Ghosh was asked to depose on the 12th of April to face interrogation. Ghosh is allegedly to have received 85 lakh from the Sharda group. ED has also issued fresh summons to actor cum Trinamool Congress MP Mithun Chakrabarti for allegedly failing to submit documents to the agency. Well, let's now take a look at the news and events lined up for today in our segment The Day Ahead. Congress President Sonia Gandhi will visit rain-hit farmers in Rajasthan. In her one-day visit to Kota district, she is expected to review losses to farmers due to the recent untimely rainfall and speak to affected farmers whose crops were damaged. Delegates from 20 nations will attend International Maritime Conference in Bhubaneswar today to strengthen maritime security and trade among Indian Ocean rim countries. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will inaugurate the 3-day conference. Fresh election to the post of Maharashtra Legislative Council Chairman will be held today, days after Congress leader Shivaji Rao Deshmukh was ousted from the post. All major parties except the BJP have fielded candidates for the election. A total solar eclipse will occur today, but it will not be visible in India. The eclipse will start at 1:11 p.m. and end at 5:20 p.m. According to scientists, the total eclipse can be seen for a maximum of 2 minutes and 50 seconds from any given point on Earth. The last total solar eclipse was in November 2013. Moving on to some international news now. A United Nations report cites evidence based on interview accounts of crimes against humanity by Islamic State terrorists. Its Human Rights Office has urged the UN Security Council to refer them to the International Criminal Court to prosecute the perpetrators. Many of these alleged perpetrators include foreign members of the ultra-radical insurgent group. Here's more.
The United Nations is renewing calls to prosecute Islamic State terrorists for genocide. A latest report, based on interviews with over 100 alleged victims and witnesses, say the group committed crimes against humanity, including killings, torture and abductions of women and children.
Clearly, international war crimes, crimes against humanity, and possibly genocide appear to have been committed during this conflict. The genocide part relates particularly to the Yazidis.
In Iraq from ISIS. The UN Human Rights Council launched its inquiry in September after the terrorists, going under the names of ISIS, ISIL or IS, seized large areas in north and west Iraq. The report says Islamic State had a manifest pattern of attacks against the Yazidis, whom they see as pagans.
No community has been spared in Iraq from ISIL's violence, including the Yazidis, the Christians, Turkmen, Sabamandians, Kakai, Kurds, Shia and indeed the Sunni.
The UN report claims 3,000 women, children and some men are in their custody. Islamic State has treated captured women and children as spoils of war, often subjecting them to rape or sexual slavery.
Witnesses reported attacks on girls as young as 6 and 9 years old. And this involved repeated rape, sexual abuse, and as I mentioned, selling of girls and transfer of girls.
The report said Islamic Sharia courts run by the insurgents in Mosul meted out cruel punishments, including stoning and amputation. The Iraqi government has also routinely uncovered mass graves in areas recently retaken by their forces.
Consistent pattern where men and boys over the age of 14 were separated from women. They were taken to locations where they were summarily executed.
In other offences, UN investigators cite allegations that Islamic State used chlorine gas, a prohibited chemical weapon, against Iraqi soldiers in the Anbar province in September. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has softened his stand on the issue of a separate Palestinian state after pledging to oppose formation of a Palestinian state just days ahead of the parliamentary elections. Netanyahu told a US television channel that he had not moved away from the peace process. He said, in fact, he wanted a sustainable, peaceful two-state solution, but for that, circumstances must change. Netanyahu cited as a sticking point Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas's refusal to recognize Israel as a Jewish state. European Union leaders have agreed to keep sanctions against Russia till full implementation of the Minsk agreement. The leaders didn't formally extend the sanctions that are due to expire in July, but the link to the Minsk agreement effectively extends sanctions until the end of the year because the accord sets a number of deadlines for the end of 2015. Greece's Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras is meeting leaders of Germany, France and European Union institutions on the sidelines of the European summit. The meeting in Brussels will allow the Greek Prime Minister to push for proposed reforms in the face of debt problems being faced by Athens. Tsipras has called for bold initiatives to reinvigorate the Greek economy. He is expected to press for short-term funds to help Athens keep itself afloat. But so far, his plans have met resistance from EU leaders. German Chancellor Angela Merkel also doused any expectation of a deal, saying decisions were up to the Eurogroup of finance ministers. Amid anti-terrorism demonstrations in the national capital Tunis, Tunisian President Habib Essid assured a full investigation into Wednesday's terror attack. 9 people were arrested in connection with the attack that left 23 people dead, including 20 foreign tourists. The Prime Minister said that he would increase security in all tourist areas across the country. The army will also be deployed in major cities. The Islamic State has claimed responsibility for the attack in an audio message that praised the 2 attackers killed in the incident. Moving on to some sports news now, Australia will take on Pakistan in the 3rd quarter-final at Adelaide today. The hosts are favourites to qualify for the semi-final, But a revived Pakistani team will look to replicate the success of the 1992 World Cup after starting the tournament in a similar fashion. Pakistan comes into the match with 4 wins in a row after starting poorly with heavy defeats in the first 2 matches. They will, however, be without their key bowler Mohammad Irfan, who has been ruled out of the World Cup due to an injury. Australian captain Michael Clarke has warned his side not to take the Asians lightly.
Your confidence must be sky high going into this quarter-final.
Yeah, I believe it's all about momentum.
That's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a nice day.